Hello Reshaper, hope you're doing fantastic today. In today's very stream, I want to share for you UPW port 14. So, by the way, if you don't watch myself on YouTube, you can do so. If you want to watch myself on YouTube with 4K stream, better sound quality, you can just go into YouTube. When you just type a pogodora space URRA, alternatively you just go into my own profile, you can click onto my own website and then on the fifth link and you will be there. Voila. Without further ado, let's jump in. Today we want to talk about decisions. Why decisions? Well, decisions are actually the catalysts for making change in our lives. Yes, when we make a decision, we make a change. In a moment of decision, everything happens. Yeah, in a moment of decision, your life changes. It never be the same. Life will never be the same. Life is changing. You know? This is exactly what will happen. So it will happen because you decide. And when it's a true decision, well, then the life will never be the same because you have decided. Now, the most decisions and the most radical decisions that we taken are those decisions which are made on point of no return. If you feel like the dead end is coming here and you tried something to change, this is where it really shapes your entire life tremendously and drastically. Now, most people, though, start to live when they face a death. True thing. And why this happens is because we don't really value our lives. We don't value our lives. One of Japanese rock stars, Gakt, when he was 8 years old, he was actually about to drown in a shipper's boat with his dad. And all of a sudden what happened is it was a wonder that he had survived. And he was drowning. Now, currently he is really rocking the house. He is like in his 40s, he's looking like in 20s, better than he in his 20s. Because he made a decision. He made a decision to become the best, to become a rock star, and just rock everything. Now he isn't even live in Japan, he lives in Malaysia because it's better to, and he is more listening to his body, to his health, and so on. Such a person is really a good role model. And I have him for sure as my role model because he's just rocking it, really. Simple as that. And why? Because he has faced death. And I don't want to say you have to face death right now. No, not really. However, if you really want to decide something really serious, if you're really serious about a true decision, if you're really sick and tired with the place where you are right now, you want to really change. In the moment of change, in the moment of decision, you have to ask yourself 3 questions. How many questions? 3. By the way, thanks for watching, Mom, and people on Facebook. I've noticed you too. Now, what kind of decision you can do, or what kind of questions you should ask yourself in the moment of decision? The first question you should ask yourself: what I'm going to focus on. Again, focus. Yes, when I'm talking about again about focus. Well, we got a little bit later afterwards, but the thing is, when your focus is on the right thing, when you focus just on the right thing, then you will do and achieve what you want to achieve. When you have the right intentions, the right focus, nobody can stop you. Now, the second question you should ask yourself, what does it mean? Just having a goal, having a focus, having intention doesn't mean to you much if you don't have a real meaning towards it. If it means something to you, something real that you value the most, and that you feel really pleasure, that you feel really joy and excitement towards that thing to achieve it, well, this kind of meaning will make the switch, but not kind of halfway ass meanings, which are mostly based on intrinsic values, but not on being ethnofrenzic. So yeah, this is actually the second question. The third question is, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Go and track down from this moment when you achieve this one goal to the moment where you are and see what are you capable to do right now to make a shift towards it. For example, you want to become the next PewDiePie, the next YouTuber, the next Casey Neistat or so on. Well, first you have to do some research. It's an easy thing you can do. You have your mobile phone currently in your palm. And just after the stream you can just go and just see, make your research. For example, what kind of thumbnails those people are using, what kind of things that are using, and so on. What kind of music they are using, what kind of text, what kind of fonts of text. Okay, awesome. $2 million, 133 over 2 millions. What is this number? 133 out of 2 millions. It is a number of information that surrounds us. These are the 2 millions. And that enters a consciousness. This is 133. You can see the whole information, and this is, by the way, every single second. 2 million information are surrounding us every single second. And our brain are processing them. However, it doesn't come to a consciousness. Okay? Because it goes through this filter. And what are those filters of our brain? First of all, it goes and generalizes everything. It sees like, okay, cool, it is like this, it is like this, like this. It can put on some prejudice, for example, things like, hey, every Japanese human being is eating sushi, which is just bullshit. Same goes for every Russian is drinking vodka. It's also bullshit. Not everyone, for sure not. So, and this is actually what our brain does. Just goes and generalize. Then we get to distortion. It tries to, for example, when this kind of information feels like bad to you, it feels like you're guilty, it wants to kind of pull this harm to yourself less and less and less and less, and kind of tweaks the information. So you have the distortion there. And the third one is, of course, deletion. It just deletes information, which is said, okay, I cannot distort it, I've already done this or this, so I don't need this kind of information, boom, delete. And 99%, more than 99% are going through these processes. And what's left over is information that comes through our consciousness, that we become conscious of, that we see, that we perceive. You can see it as a cake. You can see it as a cake, for example, right? As a cake. The whole information is a big freaking cake of 2 million bits of information. Okay? And what we see is just 133 bits of this whole information. Just a really small thing. If you're going to percentage, it's like more like 0.006633%. So it's really tiny bit. It's less than 1%, right? And this is which we are just capable of being focused on. Now, if you shift your focus to another level, then you will shift also your approach, and you will see the opportunities around you. A good quote that today Gakt has actually told in his Instagram, that you're not unhappy, you just don't see the happiness around you. This is exactly what I mean. If we shift the focus from this one level, we will feel really bad. When we rise the energy to a better one, then we shift the focus to another degree, and then we can find a happiness. It is not that the happiness is not around us, it's always around us. All the opportunities are always around us, we just don't see them. Because we are blind, we are thinking that we know everything, but we know nothing. We know less than 1%. Just imagine, less than 1% is what our knowledge. And we are using our brain less than 3%, mostly. Yeah. This is exactly what I also talking. How dare can we say that we know everything? How dare? It is just ignorant to say this. Because we cannot know everything. In fact, we know nothing right now. Even with this whole technology, it's still nothing. Because we don't use the whole potential of our brain. Or the biggest computer that we have. Okay, let's go to another thing. Now, how we can switch these things? How we can switch from kind of this one wave to another wave, well, we can switch it by when we use our body in a dynamic way. We do aerobics and so on. In fact, when you feel like right now really kind of sleepy or something like that, and you want just to switch your state, you can just stand up. Just do it with me. Just stand up really quick. Kind of shake out your body, shake out your arms, and now just put them out in the air and just do some pogoing and just jump around, maybe for several seconds. You can also scream if you want to, like yeah, you know, there's a scream, and just do this motion with me. Just jump. Now you can sit down. It wasn't even 10 seconds. But you can already feel the shift with your emotions. If you sit down, not like this, but if you sit down straight. And what I mean by straight, you don't have to straighten your spine 24/7. What I mean by straight, you have to be aware. We have a bone here. And when we kind of go with a back a little bit backwards, like this way, right? Then you can feel like this bone is dropping down. However, if you go a little bit up, then you can feel this bone is kind of lifting up. So you don't need to be all the straight back every single time. You just need to be aware of this bone, that this bone is always shifted up, and you can feel this energy still. Now, how do I feel right now? Just doing just a little bit jumping. Your state has just shifted from being really lazy, I can do nothing, I feel more energized than before. I don't want to say you're in a peak state right now. You're not. Maybe you are. But the thing is, at least your state has just shifted from just by moving, which is pretty simple. Now, so remember, change your emotions. Our emotion, when we move, we're changing our emotions. Because we feel right now better, your emotion has just changed. Now, when you change your emotions, you change your life. One more time. Change your emotion to change your life. And what creates emotion? Motion. You move around, you change your emotion. You change your emotion and you change your life. Because you just shifted from being lazy and doing nothing from doing something and being more energized. So you are also attracting more people who are more energized and doing something. Of course, we have sometimes, it's one of those days. However, it is not about being always in those states. It's all about knowing how to get out of those kind of states. And the easiest way is just by move your ass. I will talk about later about move your ass, not right now. It's actually what Joseph McClellan is talking about when we use our butt muscle to move the hips. What will happen is that will stimulate and give our more endorphins and so forth, so we feel better overall. So yeah, but this is one thing I want to talk later, not today, in more in depth. Now, let me ask yourself. Now you know how you can change your how can you change your state? Just by moving, right? You can change your emotion just by moving, and so you can change your life just by moving, right? Now, you can change those things. And because you can change those things right now, I want to say one thing, that everyone can lit up an environment in bright days when you feel great, when you feel amazing, right? But when we use this kind of lit, when we use to light up the environment in the darkest days, right now you feel better because you did some exercise with me if you done it. However, in your darkest days, when you feel really like BS, really, everything is bad, everything sucks, right? And you feel in these days, now you have the tool. You have the tool just moving around. Simple. Simply you can just move around, right? And even you sitting right now, you can also feel better right now. Even when you're sitting on a chair, you can pump. You can pump and use your body and feel more energized. You don't have to stand up. And when you say, no, I cannot stand up because I don't have feet, you can still move your hands, right? Or anything. Or you can just put on pressure on your body, like just concentrate, just put on pressure everywhere and then release. Put on pressure and release. And this is also an exercise if you kind of handicapped or something like that, where you can just give on more to your body. But better is, of course, when you pump and you pump through, do this asana thing. You are putting your arms down and you kind of breathe with your nose out and breathe in when you put up. So this is actually a pretty easy one. It's out of yoga. So when you're doing those kind of exercises, you can bright up days. And this is exactly what happened. In the darkest days, when you light up the darkest days, we are at our best. We are at our best because when we are having this knowledge and using this knowledge, because now you have this knowledge, now you have the tool. Easy tool, you can do it everywhere, basically. However, if this tool, you have to just share like data for later, right? You have to just, okay, cool, I have this tool, data for later. If you don't use it in the darkest days, it is same as not knowing this tool. As I said yesterday, knowing and not doing is the same as not knowing. If you don't use it, you lose it. Okay? Therefore, now you have the tool, and when you feel bad, especially when you feel bad, if you feel really like shit, really, if you feel just really bad, go and use this tool. Simple. Go and use this tool and light up your days. Because every single second is a gift that you got. Life is always a gift that we have. And most people are just unaware of it. And as I said before, the most awareness of life and actually the gift of life and actually the value of life we just get when we get really close to death. Then we say, okay, whoa, dude, now I will rock this house. I will do whatever it takes. But most people are not living, they're freaking dying. Because, hey, we have Corona outside. Okay, what should I do? Netflix and chill. It is the best opportunity right now to educate yourself. You have the best excuse in the world to sit at home, do nothing. And the best excuse in the world to sit at home and educate yourself. Which one do you choose? Now, life is always a gift. And I think that what we're always doing is judging yourself, judging ourselves. We're judging others and judging ourselves. In fact, I have been judged yesterday or before. I've posted one comment in Japanese, and one guy who has just maybe learned Japanese, just started off Japanese, and say, hey, this grammar is so wrong because you put this in this, but this guy hasn't even seen the context. So, whatever. I mean, when you judge others, you are actually judging, or when you judge yourself, you're just beating up yourself. The more you judge yourself, especially when it's more like with more negative emotionally, right? What happens is you get low energy. When you get low energy, you go where? Survival mode. In a survival mode, it is more like fight or flight, right? In fight or flight, you feel just bad because you are kind of beating up your body and beating up yourself mentally in survival mode. In survival mode, you try to survive, you try to get something, and you become a victim. And when you don't get the thing, you become more and more a victim. You go more and more into this vicious cycle. And the more that happens, the harder it is to go out of it. So yeah, I do apologize, my nose is pretty cheap. So what you want to do is don't judge yourself in the first place, and don't judge others. In fact, I have told you just 2 days before or 3 days before, one of the biggest insights is trade your expectation to your appreciation. Trade your expectation to your appreciation. Really powerful thing. When you trade it. Simple. I mean, it sounds simple. But when you're really doing it, what will happen? You don't have any obligations. You don't have any wishes to judge someone. Not anyone, nor yourself. And this is so powerful. This is really easy to say. I mean, easy to remember. But it's really deep. Because we don't need anything to appreciate, by the way. We don't need anything to appreciate. We don't have to compare anything to appreciate. We don't have to obtain anything to appreciate. It goes really deep. Because most people try to appreciate with, hey, I have to compare myself. I can see, people cannot see. Okay, cool, thank you for that, my eyes can see. Appreciating. And then you go to the next level, or yeah, I mean, first people appreciate like, hey, I have a new car. Thank you for the car, right? For the things, for the materialistic things. Then people say, okay, they compare themselves with others. Okay, I have more money than people who are poor in Africa or something like that. So thank you for the money, right? Then we have the comparing thing. But the ultimate thing of true appreciation is appreciate something when nothing is there. Appreciate something when nothing is there. And this kind of appreciation should be even more energetic perceived than the other two. And this is where the true switch happens. This is where you try to. So currently, this also hard for me, by the way, to just don't expect anything from anyone, nor from yourself, and just be in this flow of life. It's really hard. And of course, according to Jing, some people have to strive, some people don't, some people just have the flow of life, some people not. It's according to you, of course. You have to listen to your body. However, when it comes to appreciation, it has nothing to do with much realistic, with much realism. Now, we have a 2 million old brain, and to establish a certain habit, the only thing we should do is what? Repetition. Yes. Now you know the technique. How to get yourself in the state or in higher energy. Pretty in a frame of seconds. Now, you don't need any reason for it to be happy. Happiness, same goes for appreciation. There's no reason. You don't need any reason behind happiness. You don't need any reason behind appreciation. In repetition of those things, of your own morning, evening routines, are the keys. Are the keys to establish a switch in your life, to establish a turn in your life, to establish a better life. Those are the key points. Now, when you want to make really a true switch, a dramatic switch, and really study those things, what kind of things you should study? First, psychology. You have to know your own psychology and people's psychology. You can use tools like people are learning in university and so on, or you can go with psychology things like the old Chinese I Ching stuff, which is also telling you psychology, which is even more accurate than the modern psychology. Now, physiology, how your body responds towards things. Psychology is more like how your psychology responds toward things, how your brain responds toward things, right? And here, physiology is how your body responds toward things. How do you feel? Where do you feel? What do you feel? What kind of feeling do you have? Is it a temporal feeling? Is it more cold? Is it like shiver? Is it more like feel your body? Be conscious of it. Now the third one. Emotions. Be aware of your emotions because they are creating your freaking reality. And when you let the emotions flow and become a victim of emotions, well, no wonder why those realities get destroyed. Because emotions had nothing to do with control, has nothing to do with rationality. However, our own decisions are made on emotions. The decisions we are made on emotions. And because I'm talking today about decisions, it is really important to put yourself in high state and high emotions before making a decision. When you do decisions in a low state, you will ruin your own life. Full stop. So study your emotions. You can do it through books. You can do it through meditation. You can do it through hypnosis and so on. There are many, many techniques. And now the last one is strategy. There are some people who are down before you. You have to follow them. Because the easy shortcut to get to the top somewhere is to follow who's already the top. If you want to become the best YouTuber, follow PewDiePie and do what he does. For example, strategy for YouTube, pretty self-explanatory. What kind of hashtags those people use? What kind of thumbnails those people use? For example, PewDiePie, right? When it's in your niche, when he's in your niche, and you want to become the next PewDiePie, well, you want to aim for it. You have to do first of all your research. Research on, hey, what kind of tools does he use? What kind of camera does he have? Or maybe what kind of camera he used before? Because currently it's not in my budget to have the best camera. But let's take like a little bit lower one. Or even try it out with your mobile phone. Now, what kind of editing software does he use? Or what kind of thumbnails? What kind of things does he talk about? What kind of headlines does he have? Is it a clickbait? Is it not a clickbait? And so on. And those strategies doesn't just go for PewDiePie, this goes for everything. It goes for the psychology, it goes for the physiology, it goes for your emotions, it goes for everything, basically. Because if you have the control about your body, we have a really powerful tool, which is our body. The problem is, most people do not have the manual for it, or the manual wasn't taught them. So we end up forcing ourselves doing things that we don't want to. In the sake of being loved by our parents, in the sake of being loved by our teachers, in the sake of being loved by anyone else. But in the end, when the people are freaking dead, when the people die, who will take the responsibility? Who will take responsibility for living a life of dread? Living a life of despair, of hating your job. Let me ask yourself, how do you wake up to your job? Do you wake up, yeah, next day, next job, hooray, I can go and just kill it. I can just, contribute to the things, to the business. Or do you wake up like, Monday again. Oh, maybe I can snooze a little bit. Okay, let's take a coffee. Okay. Oh, I feel a little bit better. But after 2 hours, you feel even more asleep. Which one of person are you? And those are things that are really important to ask yourself. And it's not just because I'm talking about, some Alex is talking about. No, it's just truth. Because some people are seeing their own individual as what they work. Their own individuality is what they work. They identify themselves with the work. Nothing against it. However, what will happen when you go and be fired the next day from your work, even you identify yourself with work? You lose your identity? No, you're still a human being. You have still your identity. You have still your problems. You have still your what you want. You have still your everything around you. You have still your emotions. You have still your psychology. You have still your your physiology. You have still everything. So work is not something you should identify yourself. And this is actually the biggest problem back then in Japan, why the suicide rate was rising in the 80s, because people, when the bubble exploded, people identifying themselves with the work, and when they were basically fired from the work, they committed suicide because they lost their identity in this really moment. But this is simply not true. So, decisions, really important thing, which are shaping your life. And doing those decisions, it's important to be in a high state. If not, you can harm yourself even more than before. Be aware of it. Reshaper. Tell me in the comments box the most number of things I picked up for. I do this video close to every single day, so make sure to subscribe, share with friends as always. Do not like to step super now. See you tomorrow. And in the end, just want to make a mass shout out to my mom, to my aunt Elvira, and to Believe, Go, Conquer. Thank you for watching. Have an awesome day. See you tomorrow.